There are these rare moments when popular figures say sentences that just roar like a lion.
We are lions!
You might even say something profound yourself, and you can't help but think, that was good. I want to give you the 4 steps and the 2 resources you need to create these mic drop moments when you speak. There are 4 things that we notice in any mic drop moment. One is that the speaker has such bulletproof confidence in what they're saying.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
They speak as if they're sharing some law of the universe. The second is that every word matters. There's no word fat in their sentences. Third, there's a rhythm to their delivery. And fourth, there's strong imagery. They say things that we as the listener can picture in our minds. If we want to be perceived as certain and confident in what we're saying, we have to learn to reduce erosion tags. Erosion tags are weak phrases that we like to tag to the close of our statements to taper off the discussion. Phrases like, and yeah, that's my opinion. So yeah, that's kind of what I think. That's what I got. And yeah. These phrases introduce a tremendous amount of uncertainty and insecurity into our speech. When the ending of our sentences is grounded, it sounds wise. I call this the Gandalf effect. Could you imagine if Gandalf from Lord of the Rings was saying something like, so do all who live to see such times, but that's my opinion. Like, no, it would undermine the conviction in his words. And this is why a few careless words can erode a great many careful ones. Do you also see how when you pause, your mind as the listener is replaying the last thing that I said? You go from consuming the speaker's words to suddenly not having something to feast upon. And so what we would do is we return to the last thing which was said, which is kind of what echoes in the silence. One of the techniques that we often teach to reduce erosion tags is what's called the mental period. This consists of placing a mental period after each of your sentences. You say it aloud in your mind, period. What it does is it gives you that second of time needed to ignore the temptation to deaden the impact of your sentences with an erosion tag. And by the way, this is also going to help with improving the second thing, which is word economy. Those filler words or empty language like, all of that is a result of giving your mind too much creative license when you speak. You're not setting boundaries. You're not defining a clear end to your sentence. When you define a clear end to your sentence, your mind becomes a lot more deliberate about your overall word choice. Your sentences connect better. And when your sentences connect better, you present a very logical chain of thinking. And people love orderly speakers. Order means clarity to them, and clarity is one of the greatest currencies you can have online. Let's talk about the third technique, rhythm. So one of the exercises that we practice in our Elite Speak cohorts is what's called the exhale explain. If you want to sound more convincing, your voice needs to ride on the air as you breathe out. Your words should flow, kind of like a calm river. Bruce Lee was a master at this.
Now you put water into a cup. It becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash.
One of the exercises I encourage you to do to practice the exhale explain is to take a list of powerful quotations from movie characters or historical figures and to say them aloud in a single breath, lowering your tone at the end of each sentence. I call this exercise vocal tracing. Especially if a person ends their sentences on a lower tone, the sentence just has an aura of unshakable confidence. I could say something utterly ridiculous and it'll sound weighty if I add a lower register to it. The moon, my friend, is blue cheese. Take out the garbage and get a bag. And so understanding how the exhale explain and vocal tracing influence the perception of meaning is such a large part in creating these mic drop moments. By the way, if you haven't already, I would highly suggest you join our BetterSpeak community where you can practice all of this. You get access to the full course, our coaches, and what I'm calling the stage where we actually role play your speaking challenges with you. It's everything I wish I had when I began my journey. So if you want to start taking speaking seriously, you can check it out below. Let's talk about rhythm. If you want to better condition your mouth to feel what rhythmical language is like to deliver, I highly, highly recommend reading poetry. You can study hundreds of different rhetorical devices and spend a decade and get a PhD doing that, or you can actually read poetry and train your mouth and mind to absorb rhythmical language and find just these delicious combination of words. You learn the impact of short sentences. You realize that longer sentences can ebb and flow and build to a crescendo, and all of that translates to your speech and allows you to just speak like music. Number 4, we need to talk about evocative language, language that possesses imagery that we can picture in our minds. This is a really hard technique to teach because it involves seeing something as something else. This video, for example, as a treasure chest, my phone as a weapon. And this kind of quick connection is very much like wit. It's something you can't fake, but you can certainly strengthen. You have to be able to create these mic drop moments because people remember what you can make them picture in their minds. And people today often speak in a way that is just void of any concrete imagery. They'll say things like, objective consideration of contemporary phenomena compels the conclusion that success or failure of competitive activity, like put all of that into a dustbin. There's nothing there to grip. There's no texture, nothing to make the sentence actually come alive. A sentence comes alive when it's able to capture something concrete. Bread, wind, stone, battle, sword, water.
I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind.
I call these eternal elements. They bring a timeless quality to your idea because they're physical things that we've all encountered. They're things that will outlast us all. By the way, that phrase, outlast us all, is something that I learned from reading poetry, which shows you how natural the lessons you learn can carry over into your speech. One of the easiest ways to practice evocative language is to keep a collection of what I like to call image cues. These are words or abstract concepts that you've anchored to clear images. For example, the idea of growth is linked to the image of a seed breaking through the soil, that phrase. The concept of loud is linked to a hammer strike. The concept of precise is linked to sharp like a razor. The key here is to connect an idea that you talk about often to a mental image that you've written down. That way, whenever you mention the idea, let's say it's growth, you instantly can recall that image and you have a powerful phrase that's within arm's reach. What I suggest is writing these pairings down in a notebook or creating a digital image cue list like I've created here for myself that you're more than welcome to steal. And you'll find that if you review this on a daily basis, you'll very easily begin to default to the image that you've tethered to the idea. And it really only takes a few days of reviewing this list for you to notice how quickly it can impact your language. What you say becomes more fresh. It becomes more evocative and ultimately more memorable. And maybe, just maybe, if you're lucky and you follow everything in this video, you'll get your words etched on some mountainside. An archaeologist will wonder who said such wise things.